We are back with another installment of Number One Rated Business Show right here on the Real 1100 AM. I'm your host today, Kevin C. Pride. And I got a jam-packed show for you today. Today we will be discussing vaccination. Do you need to be vaccinated? Should you get vaccinated and why? I got the great docs from Align for Life Wellness here. Today we're going to be discussing vaccinations and kind of cutting through some of the myths and some of the information that's out there so you guys can make sure that you get the facts and are being as well as you possibly can. That's right. There you go. Also joining me very shortly, we also have political strategist and top 25 Atlantan will be joining me in a few minutes. Mr. Fred Hicks will be joining us via phone to jump into the conversation. He is heading up the efforts for vaccination for the Urban League. So I can't wait to get him in on this discussion and, just talk about all this, all these facts and all this stuff circulating around. Because I know a lot of people are concerned and starting to get worried. Some of these vaccinations hadn't gone the way some of these companies like Johnson & Johnson wanted. But we're going to get into the facts today. Just got a couple of quick announcements that we need to go ahead and get out of the way. We are still racing to read here in the city of Atlanta, and we still want your help. I want you to go to racetoread.org and sign up to help Atlanta become the city that reads. We have officially surpassed 8 million minutes read. That is 8 million minutes read. So if you would please go to racetoread.org and then jump in and start tracking your minutes. Once again, you don't have to read anything in particular. You can read any books that you would like. We just want you tracking those minutes to let us know about how long you are reading. Lord, the pollen count is off the chain today. I had COVID a few weeks ago. I am clear of it. All right. let's make sure everybody understand that. But I'm having a rough time breathing today. But I got my doctors here, so if I fall out, we good. I hope. One last thing. If you are out in the Douglasville area, I would like for you to go visit Studio 1211 and see my personal barber, Mr. Melvin Bowden. He's at 6405 Fairburn Road. You can call and schedule appointments at 770-485-6772. Just let him know that Kevin told you to give him a call, and he might even give you a free lineup. And if you don't charge it to me. So joining us right now, he is a political strategist. He is a top 25 Atlantan, and he is just the overall man in politics in Georgia. Joining me via the phone, Mr. Fred Hicks. I tried to put you out there, man. Well, I definitely wanted to, get you in this conversation. Today we got our good friends from Align for Life, Dr. Joseph Fowler, Dr. Joseph Fowler Jr. and Dr. Brandon Williams. I had to throw the junior on there because I never do. Put it on that, bro. But we just want to have a conversation around this whole vaccination thing and this whole process, because a lot of people, like I said, they're a little scared out there. They don't know whether they should or they shouldn't. And then some of these vaccinations and some of the companies have had some rough times with it. So definitely we want to have this conversation today to just get the facts out there. So number one, thank you once again for joining us, Mr. Fred Hicks. And if you will kindly set the tone of, where we are with this whole vaccination process and what we're doing right this second to try to get our communities covered with these vaccines. Oh, yes. Thank you so much. Well, let me also my good experts in on the conversation today. Why is this so different than your normal flu? Because at first everybody kind of had that same mentality around it. So why is this COVID so much more different than this flu, and why are we seeing just the kind of rampage that it's causing? Dr. Fowler, we'll start with you.
Okay. So one of the reasons that this is different is the way that it attacks the system. Okay. As brother was just saying, it is not the flu, as you were saying, it's not the flu. And so the symptoms are more severe. All right. The way that it attacks you, again, it comes on sometimes light, but and then it increases. It increases the way that it attacks the immune system, the way that it attacks the nervous system is totally different. So that's the biggest thing that makes it different from the regular flu.
Dr. Williams?
Yeah, absolutely. And let's put it out there. And Mr. Hicks and Dr. Fowler have already alluded to it. This is not the flu, so we do not want to put COVID-19 and the flu in the same conversation, the same sense. As Dr. Fowler mentioned, it's much more contagious. The symptoms are much more severe. It attacks the organs in ways that influenza does not. So it does not matter your race, color, creed, ethnicity, political affiliation. COVID does not discriminate, young, old, fit, or unfit. We're seeing a lot of fit, what we would consider to be young, fit, healthy individuals that have succumbed to this virus. So we want to take it seriously. We want to be proactive and not reactive when it comes to this virus.
Wow. Now, Fred, you once, just like myself, you experienced this firsthand. What was different for you? Just going through this whole process versus I'm sure you've had the flu before. So for you, what was so much more different? Wow.
Anything like this. And, for me, and again, I had one of the more severe cases. When I was in the hospital, I was the only person on my floor who was not on a ventilator, and I did have oxygen in the latter part of the week. But for me, it started, I had something really weird. My first sign was my hands and feet started shedding.
Wow.
It was weird. And I went to a dermatologist, and I didn't know I had it at the time. And they were like, well, you don't have any skin disorder. We're not sure what's going on with that. Then after that, a low-grade fever started, exhaustion, things like that. And then eventually it turned into 103 and 104 fever. I couldn't shake. I was able to get my hands on a rapid test, and I came back positive. And later that night, I still just could not shake couldn't break the fever for longer than 15, 20 minutes. And so I got myself together around 11:30, went to the hospital. They did the x-rays in the lungs. I had the viral pneumonia in my lungs. And it was just really, it was fairly miserable. But even with that, it took me probably another 2 days. It wasn't until that Wednesday that my oxygen level fell, and it fell, normal oxygen levels, 94 is considered, I guess kind of low, and doctors can talk to you about that. A lot of times, most people are at 96, 97, 99 oxygen. I fell to 84.
Now, one thing I did notice as I was kind of going through it, and luckily I did take your advice because, matter of fact, it was you that told me this. You said, get up and move. Regardless how you feel, whether you feel like it or not, don't lay there in that bed and make sure that you're up moving. And I'll let the doctors kind of speak to this. Why is that so important that I feel bad, I'm cold, I'm hurting, and all this type of stuff. Why is it so important that I'm up and I'm moving around?
Well, we are beings made to move.
Okay.
And this, even though we're talking about COVID right now, but this is for any ailment really. Again, think about the blood as it moves through the body. If it stops moving through the body, you die. So again, having basically a sedentary lifestyle, and a lot of us go into that when we are feeling ill or not feeling the best. We want to sit down, but oftentimes it is best that we move, so that not only the blood flows, because the healing is in the blood, so that the nervous system can communicate to the different systems, the immune system, the hormones, the muscular, the skeletal. Yeah.
That way.
Absolutely. It's all about movement, especially when you're ailing and dealing with a viral infection, like COVID is. As Doc mentioned, you want to move, you want to keep that blood moving, so that the organs are not having to overwork themselves to move the blood, and flow of lymphatic fluid, drainage, and things like that throughout the body. So you want to help the body help itself by keeping it functioning.
Wow. Now, I think everybody at this point kind of understands a lot of the COVID, and probably know people that have unfortunately had to go through it. So turning the conversation just a little bit, Fred, and I'll start with you on this one because I'm sure you got some inside knowledge on it. Why is it that my beautiful state of Georgia is number one in business and 48 in vaccination? what is going on here? What is going on here?
It's, oh gosh, when we first started the vaccination process, you had tiers to the game, so to speak. So you had to be a certain age or have certain conditions to get it, and then they eventually expanded that. So I think there's that. I think there's also, honestly, I think there's an element of that Atlanta, that Georgia's been open for a year. We don't realize how open Georgia is or has been.
Oh,
if
yeah.
you go to a place like New York or California or someplace outside the South, you're like, oh, wait a minute, y'all don't do hookah on Friday? Really? Y'all can't do that? Oh, okay, that's weird. But so I think because of that, we've developed sort of a cavalier attitude towards it.
Okay.
And then on top of that, what we've found in the research, we've been talking, we discovered this with the Urban League, is that you have a lot of barriers that are really present, especially around Metro Atlanta.
Okay.
One, we don't have a really solid transportation infrastructure. MARTA is great and it does the best that it can, but people have a hard time getting to vaccine sites. The other thing that we've noticed is that the registration requirement that was in place is also onerous for folks, because they would get frustrated trying to call in and get it scheduled, or trying to find a place online, and then if the place online is 100 miles away or something like that, then you just weren't able to get it. People just got frustrated. So you have the element of, we've been open for a year, you have a transportation barrier, you have a registration barrier, and then on top of all that, you have all the normal sort of divides that make it difficult in Georgia from other places. The digital divide. So when you go outside of Metro Atlanta, you have very limited access to broadband. So getting online to make that appointment is really difficult. And then you also, again, the further you get out of Georgia, the more important, or the more prohibitive, so to speak, or more of a barrier transportation becomes. So you have all those elements that played a part in it. And so the Urban League, we've been working with our partners as we're about to roll out our sites to really get in the community so that people don't have to go to Mercedes-Benz, which is great. But if you live in South DeKalb or in Riverdale, or even on the west side, get into Mercedes-Benz can be difficult. So the mass back sites are great. Go ahead.
Speaking of getting in community, and I'll pass this to my good doctors here from Align for Life Wellness. Why is it? Number one, how is it going? First of all, in the communities that we're serving, a lot of the Black communities, because of course you guys in the historic Lakewood community. How is the process over there going? Let's just start there.
Well, there's a certain need in the community, first and foremost. Mr. Hicks kind of hit the nail on the head when you're talking about lack of transportation, mass transportation. When we're talking about mass vaccination sites, prior to Mercedes-Benz, there was only one at Delta. So you're talking about one mass site for the entire metro Atlanta area.
Wow.
So you have that component plus being able to actually get to that site. So that kind of leaves the fringe communities at a loss. So when we're talking about Lakewood in particular, there's a tremendous need in that area.
Okay.
And the community has certainly appreciated Dr. Fowler and myself with the Line for Life positioning ourselves there, because even with vaccinations aside, even the testing, we were able to bring testing to that community, to a lot of individuals that did not have access to it. So whether it was people driving in for testing or folks just walking from down the street, they appreciated that fact because, again, lack of proper transportation, but having that in the community is very much convenient. And it will afford people the opportunity to be tested and or vaccinated that may not necessarily have that opportunity.
Wow. Now, Dr. Fowler, I'll pitch this one to you. How do you think it is? Do you think people are more receptive to you guys doing these vaccines because, number one, you're my doctor, and then two, you look just like me, or some of these other companies just kind of just going into these neighborhoods, this type of stuff. They don't have these relationships. They don't know the communities and this type of thing. Which way are you seeing is a little bit more effective?
So you are my doctor. You look like me. That is a big positive as far as getting people to come out and the fact that we are in the community. Okay. And so, word of mouth, I don't care. You can have your advertisements on billboards. You can be up on Facebook, wherever. Right. But mama, daddy, grandma, grandpa, they're going to listen to maybe grandkid, the son, word of mouth. Right. And so if the grandkids or the son or the daughter is coming to us, they're more than likely going to listen to them as opposed to some commercial on the radio, TV, and all that, because they're comfortable. Wow. Again, we're right there. They can walk to us. They can drive to. We're right in the community.
Now, one big thing that we have been seeing, though, it is so difficult for so many of these smaller doctor offices and these a lot of these community practices to get the vaccine. What is something that is the government even doing anything about that, Fred, or how's that situation play out?
Yeah, access to the vaccine has definitely been an issue, a challenge, and supply, depending on the type of vaccine, has been an issue. So, I do want to make a quick notice to your listeners. We did read the other day that the mass sites, or that the state of Georgia is ending its vaccination program on May 21st. I want to, just in case anyone read that or saw that, I want to let them know that does not mean that private providers or the local providers will not be doing it. They will continue doing it. So the good doctors here on the site, we're looking forward to working with you all to continue providing access to vaccines, and also with our other strategic partners, CVS, Walgreens, Core, and groups like that. So if people have heard about that, we want to let them know. Do not be concerned. You will still be able to get the vaccine. But the state of Georgia is just moving into a different direction as an entity, but not within the state of Georgia. So I just wanted to clarify that. But within the vaccine now, what we are seeing is that suppliers are saying that the demand is falling here domestically. And so whereas before they were vaccinating 2,000 or 3,000 people at a site, that is now they're seeing 400 or 500 people. So I will say this: if you tried to get vaccinated before and you weren't able to get your appointment scheduled and you got frustrated, now is a great time to call. If you can get it, it's a lot easier now than it was before, and there is supply. We just have to make sure that there's demand, because the vaccine is only good for so many hours once it's thawed out, and so if it's not used, then it has to be thrown away. So it's not something it's not like leftovers that you can put in the refrigerator and come back to two days later. There's not a 15-bean soup that gets better the longer you let it sit out. So if you've not been vaccinated, I want to say it again. If you've not been vaccinated, you tried before and you got frustrated in February or March trying to get this vaccine, or you think it doesn't apply to you because you're 16, 17, 18, you're young and all that. Look, anyone can get COVID and anyone can be adversely impacted by it, and you can get vaccinated now. So please do. Keep in mind that most of the places now are using the Pfizer and Moderna one, which is a 2-shot series. So you have to give it at least 3 weeks between shot 1 and shot 2 to get it. So you get your first shot and then try and get your second shot, which is one more thing I want to say, Kevin, and the doctors can talk about this too.
Okay.
We're starting to hear and see that people are getting their first shot, but not coming back for their second shot.
Wow.
And listen, please do not listen to the internet MDs, all right? Please do not listen to the Facebook doctors, DOs, all right? Oh, you get one shot, you're good, you're fine. Look, we don't know how long the first shot lasts, and at best, I think the number is 70% in terms of how much it inoculates your system, and it can only be for a week or 2, we're not sure. So if you have your first shot and you have not gone back for your second shot, please go ahead and get that second shot scheduled and get it taken care of. Don't worry. Look, if you're concerned about the side effects, schedule it for Friday, so you have Saturday and Sunday to recover if you have the weekend off. But do not stop with one shot. That is not sufficient. And actually, what it does, there seems to be some research that shows that, we're hearing about these different strains, right? The Brazilian strain, the UK strain, and all that. A virus is a living thing, and it adapts. And so when it can find a host that's not fully vaccinated, it reads what's going on, and so it actually gives the virus an opportunity to adapt. Well, so you can make things worse.
Well, I know
with one shot.
I know you gotta get out of here. I know you got a hard stop coming up, but one quick thing I just really want you just to reiterate one more time, and let's just put it out there plainly, especially our organization as big as the Urban League has been around for over 100 years. Here in the city of Atlanta, helping African Americans just do better and be more empowered in the city. How is it, or how do you feel as a Black man telling other Black folks, hey, you need to get vaccinated? With all the history that we have seen with our government and some of the testing experiments back in the day, and I had Derek Jackson answer the same question last week. So just real quick, just give me your opinion on it.
When I was laying in my bed that Wednesday night and I legit 100% thought I was going to die, and I thought about my babies who were 22 and 20, so they're not little babies, right? And making sure I was like, gosh, I have this affair in order, that affair in order. And as I tried to walk and couldn't walk more than 30 steps in a day when I first got out of the hospital, once you realize if you have the experience of what COVID can really do to you, and we still don't know the long-term effects, then you understand, again, it's not the flu, and that getting vaccinated certainly makes it worthwhile. So look, I recognize, I hear Tuskegee, but understand that Tuskegee was about us being denied treatment, not us being given a treatment. And so again, don't listen to the internet historians. Like I said, don't listen to the internet medical doctors. Don't listen to the internet historians, right? The people who haven't actually gone to school. Tuskegee was about us not getting something as opposed to us actually having access to something. And this is ravaging our communities. Again, people are still dying. So please understand that a lot of the things out there that people talk about, that they see they're misconstrued, they're only giving part of the story. But this is an opportunity to protect yourself and to protect your community, to protect Big Mama, right, and to protect your babies. So and one piece about that, people are saying, well, you're going to have to get another shot. Well, that's what a vaccine is. This is not a cure. Right. So one last thing, especially all y'all in Atlanta, just because you're vaccinated doesn't mean that it's a cure. Right. So again, you can get out there. You still need to be safe. You still need to wash your hands and do all those things. But at some point, we will need to get a booster shot because, again, it's a virus. That means it's alive. It adapts. And so as it adapts, we're going to have to make adjustments. But don't. And Kevin, you had it. Your family had it. People had it. The Urban League is committed and has been committed historically from our founding to this point to protecting and promoting and advancing our community. And we can't do that if we're not alive and healthy.
Once again, ladies and gentlemen, the one and only Fred Hicks. Thank you so much for joining the program today. And because I know how busy you are, hopefully I can get you in the studio next time and meet you and the next governor. We sit down and have a conversation.
I look forward to it, man.
It's
so good. Thank you for doing this. And thank you, Doc. It's good to be on with you and look forward to working together.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Todd, we'll be right back after this.
For almost 20 years, the Overground Railroad has promoted economic development in the Black community. Now more than ever is the time to come together and join this movement to economic freedom. The Overground Railroad online and print business directory puts you in front of your customers and keeps our dollars in the Black community. It's time. Become a member today. Information at overgroundrr.com. That's overgroundrr.com. Connecting our churches, our businesses, and our community. Join the Overground Railroad today.
Time to make a change.
This pandemic has many people suffering. Are you stressed? Are you not sleeping well? Are you suffering from neck pain, back pain, or headaches? Chiropractic can help. Chiropractic is a natural healing art that can resolve many of your ailments. Dr. Williams and Dr. Fowler of Align for Life are board-certified doctors of chiropractic with over 15 years of combined experience. They are located in South Atlanta and are available for your healthcare needs.
If you want to be fine, take care of your spine. Visit them at yourfinespine.com.
And we are back right here on the #1 rated business show. Once again, I'm your host, Kevin C. Pride. We are sitting here with Align for Life Wellness, Dr. Fowler and Dr. Williams. We are talking about vaccinations and whether or not you should get vaccinated. We have a quick question that came in from Miss Kirsten. She said, do you suggest taking the vaccine back to back? Example, Johnson & Johnson. Dr. Williams, I go to you first on this one.
Well, we certainly recommend and suggest that you take the vaccine as prescribed. As far as the 2-shot series vaccines from Moderna and Pfizer, it's 2 series, 3 weeks apart is what the recommendation is. You don't want to abbreviate that time frame. You can go, maybe up to a 4th week, but that is the case for, again, Moderna and Pfizer. As we know, the Johnson & Johnson or the J&J, that is a 1-shot vaccine. So you're essentially one and done. So again, if you're taking Pfizer or Moderna, it's a 3-week gap between shots 1 and 2, and Johnson & Johnson is a 1-shot vaccine.
Wow. Now, Dr. Fowler, what happens if you just take the first one and don't do the second one, don't come back for the second one?
Right. So, well, first, you're not fully vaccinated.
Okay.
All right. So it is similar to if you get a cold, for example, right? And a lot of times what people do is they will take medicine when they first get the symptoms and all that. And as soon as the symptoms subside, they may not take all the medicine. How many of us have medicine cabinets right now that
I did that with my prednisone.
But oftentimes what happens is you have a relapse, all right? Because the you didn't take the medicine as it was prescribed, as Dr. Williams just said. And so by not taking it the way that it is prescribed means that you are not killing the virus in this case, or any other germs that medicine is supposed to be killing and doing. And so not taking one shot, again, you're not fully vaccinated, and so you're not fully protected. So that means not only can you get this again, you can be a super carrier, let's just say, and give it to other people as well.
Wow. And that's true, because my child got exposed and came home and gave it to all of us.
No. Oh, man.
But now, what's the other requirements around the vaccine? Like, for instance, I'm about 3 weeks removed or so from having COVID. Is it safe for me to go ahead and get this vaccine now, or is it still a waiting period in there before I go ahead and get the vaccination?
No, you can, if you have an appointment today, Kevin Pride, Kevin C. Pride, you can go get the shot today.
Okay.
All right. And so, I mean, you and your family actually have what's called antibodies that are running around in your body now. Your body recognizes the virus now. But however, getting that vaccine can still fortify you even more, okay, because of what you have. I mean, I know a lot of people may have been hearing about, if you have had the virus before, you have all this important stuff running around, and you come and let us take your blood, blah, blah, blah. And so because there's still so much unknown about what's going on, all of the stipulations and guidelines right now are for what's happening right now.
Okay.
We still are studying this, still are looking at what's going on.
Now, Dr. Williams, I of course, everybody heard about, the unfortunate incidents with the Johnson Johnson,
Right.
and that really, really scared a lot of folks because the people are starting to say, well, maybe everybody was right, they rushed this and all this type of stuff. Is that enough concern to say, hey, I don't want to do this, or is this serious enough that I really just need to go ahead and take the vaccine regardless?
Okay. I'm glad you posed that question, and I'll say this: uh, anything that we can take is prone to causing side effects. The COVID-19 vaccine is not the first thing that would be prone to side effects. So we
Okay.
can't just single the J&J out. Oh, there's side effects there. Tylenol can give you a side effect.
Okay.
Okay. So we, put that into proper perspective. But, the larger conversation, we're having here without saying it is that, for us, this is a life and death decision.
Okay.
Um, you're playing Russian roulette. If you are exposing yourself, you're exposing your families. As Mr. Hicks mentioned, Big Mama, your babies. You have to consider the totality of the situation.
Okay.
Um, we know how we go into these situations, but you don't necessarily know how you're going to come out of it.
Okay.
And that's the bigger picture. So you want to equip yourself the best as you possibly can. And right now, that is about, following the CDC guidelines and getting vaccinated. If that is, um, if that's something that you can do, the advice is to do it, because if you were to contract the virus, then you're going to be in a much better position to ward it off than if not.
Okay. Now, Ms. Kirsten specifically called you out. And, she wanted to follow up that question. And she said, what about children? Is it just as important that kids get this vaccination? And, it's amazing. Now they're starting to see the number of children cases go up and start to really, really skyrocket. So I think I know the answer to that one, but I'm going to let you have it, Doctor.
Yeah, so again, we're following the guidelines of the FDA and CDC at this point when it comes to vaccination of children. I know that Pfizer in particular, and maybe some of the other pharmaceutical companies as well, has begun trials with children. To my knowledge, um, the little children are not yet cleared to be vaccinated. They're still under research as
Okay.
far as the trials are concerned. I'm not sure of the particular age cutoff. I believe it's the age of 12 and up, or maybe 14 and up. I have to check my numbers on that. So again, just make sure that you're in line with the FDA and CDC guidelines as far as vaccinating the younger children.
Okay. Dr. Fowler?
Yeah, I agree with what Doctor said. It again, the guidelines. That will help us to get through this. Okay, and so guidelines also include what we were doing prior to the vaccines being put out. So wearing the mask, washing your hands. It's still guidelines. I don't care what age you are. One of the issues that I see is going on now is people who have gotten vaccinated seem to feel as though that they are happy-go-lucky. They can just go and do and be and what they want to do and how they want to be. And but often a lot of them don't realize is, yes, you have the vaccine, you are protected as far as what the vaccine can do, but however, you can still be a carrier.
Okay.
And as a carrier, that means you can still give it. And again, you don't want to do that to your loved ones, and also still follow the guidelines.
Now, when we start talking about vaccines, because I think a lot of folks still don't really understand, is it a live version of this COVID-19 that they're actually putting in your system and allowing you to fight it off, or is it some type of kind of fake version of it that kind of mimics it? Like, what are these vaccines actually made of, and what are we actually injecting in us?
Well, it's a good question, actually.
Yeah,
It's a couple different things.
Yeah.
So, Pfizer and Moderna have synthesized, or they have created a vaccine built off of what's called mRNA, or messenger RNA. So
Okay.
basically, it is introducing a coded sequence
Mhm.
into the body, so that the body is essentially producing the required antibodies to ward off this virus.
Okay.
And J&J, and I believe also AstraZeneca, what they did differently is they synthesized or isolated, if you will, what's called an attenuated virus,
Okay.
which is not necessarily a live virus, but a dead virus.
Okay.
So once that is instituted into the body, then the body will itself create the necessary DNA sequence to create the antibodies to, again, ward off the virus.
Wow. Now we got a bunch of questions coming in all over the place now. So one of the next ones, so with so many different strands or different new forms of COVID starting to pop up now, are these vaccinations going to really help the public at large?
Yes. So just vaccines in general, they can help. They can help. But however, what people need to realize too is you need to protect yourself by doing certain things. You need to have a healthier lifestyle, let's just
Okay.
say. It's not just one of those things where I can, do what I want to do as far as not eating healthy, not exercising and all that. What makes you a good host for any virus is that your immune system is weakened.
Okay.
Part of what makes the system weak is not having a healthy lifestyle. And so, again, the vaccine, even if you put the vaccine in you and you are an unhealthy person, whatever that is, that vaccine potentially will not work as good as it should.
Wow.
So you definitely want to arm yourself. That's a good question as far as the many variants that are popping up. But see, again, this is not specific to COVID-19. Viruses in and of themselves are intelligent enough to mutate,
which is why they adapt. Yeah,
and so they adapt and mutate. We talked about adaptation earlier. So as they adapt into these new variants, some of the variants that we've come across, they've been more contagious, but not more severe. But now, when we're specific to the UK variant, the California variant, the Australian variant, different others out there now, not only are they more contagious, they're more severe. So when we're talking about the multitude of variants that we're coming across, you want to arm your immune system and your body with as many tools as you can. So the vaccination could only help in that regard.
Now, I'm trying to thought real quick. No. So is this, back in I'm trying to think when this was. This might have been 10 years ago, where this whole new thing in medicine came out where we need to stop giving all these antibiotics for every little thing that pops up. If the person is not presenting with a true infection or something, they don't need antibiotics. And then, the other thing was, finding this stuff in a lot of the sewers and this type of thing. Is this that super bug that they were talking about back then? Are we starting to see the rise of these super bugs? Because you just said that, how these bugs get more intelligent, just like we do. So are we starting to see that rise of that super bug in our generation now?
So that has been going on for a while because we have become a society that is overly medicated.
Wow.
And so this allows any virus, any bacteria to adapt. If it, that's just like you, Brother Pride. If you go to the gym and you start working out and you will go frequently every day, every other day, working, whatever, eventually you're going to be buff. Right?
Okay.
That's because you
I used to be.
That's because you're going to the gym every day and you're taking the medicine of working out.
Okay.
But when you're taking all these other medications, again, we're talking about stuff that's being taken orally as well as being injected in you over and over and over, the germs, the viruses adapts. We've talked about that earlier. And so it makes it harder for them to be killed or dealt with.
Wow.
Yeah. And another thing too, like I said, over medication, especially you mentioned antibiotics and things of that nature. It's not, the frequency of utilizing, these types of medications is one thing, but also the type, specific to antibiotics. And this, we can apply this to COVID-19 as well. You have different types of antibiotics. Two types in particular are the narrow spectrum antibiotics and the broad spectrum antibiotics. Narrow spectrum meaning they're designed to target one specific cell or thing of that nature, whereas the broad spectrum is just like it's broad. Okay, so it's killing not just the bad cells, but it can also kill
everything.
It just kills everything. It's like you're killing a gnat with a sledgehammer. So when you're over medicating, as Doc mentioned in that regard, you're giving these bacterium and things of that other nature. You're giving them basically the handbook. You're handing them the playbook. So they're learning and they're growing. So when we're talking about the creation of these super bugs, it's those types of things that are contributing to that. When something calls for a narrow spectrum vaccine, or in this case an antibiotic, we're throwing the broad spectrum at it when we really shouldn't be doing that. So just how we medicate is very key.
Wow. Now, I know you guys prescribe to a lot more of a holistic approach towards medicine, health, and wellness and this type of thing. Describe that healthy lifestyle this day and age, because a lot of us, we been sitting down for a long time. we still can't really get out the way we want to. Well, some of them just don't care. But what does that healthy lifestyle look like under this COVID?
So, of course, as chiropractors, we're going to say proper chiropractic care.
Okay.
Because, again, as chiropractors, we take care of your nervous system, specifically the central nervous system, which consists of the brain and spinal cord. That system runs your entire body, the immune system, all the other systems. But also, you should have proper nutrition, proper exercise, and proper rest. Rest is a big one because rest is where the body, and when I say rest, I'm talking sleep, is where the body heals itself. And so even though a lot of us have been cooped up in the houses, there are still things that we can do to bring about the healthy or the more holistic lifestyle within the house, like adapting it. You can't get to the gym. You may have some books, or you may have a computer or something at the house, a laptop that you can curl, let's just say. You got some soup cans on getting water. You got to, plenty of water.
Proper hydration. Absolutely.
Yeah. Go ahead, Doc.
Yeah. You mentioned it. Yeah. Make sure you're getting proper sleep, 6 to 8 hours a night. And no, that doesn't mean lay down at 2 a.m. in the morning and get 8 hours. That means going to bed at a proper time. 10 p.m. is the opportune time. Getting good quality sleep. So removing, any distractions like TV, cell phones, things of that nature. Again, eating healthy, just creating that proper environment. And even though, we're still not back to the way things were, prior to COVID, get outside, get some fresh air, get some vitamin D. Vitamin D and natural sun is also very helpful towards your overall immunity. So just the things, again, that are going to help equip us so that if, God forbid, we contract this virus or any other virus for that matter, our bodies would be better able to deal with it.
Wow. So let's talk about the nervous system. When we start to have this conversation about our health and being healthy and COVID and this type of thing, have you found that, number one, it affects the nervous system in any way? And how do these adjustments to the nervous system benefit people, or how does it help people when you are suffering from, like me personally, these just horrible allergies and other things like that?
Go ahead.
Yeah, so as Dr. Fowler mentioned, the nervous system is the foundation for all of the systems in the body.
Okay.
So when we're talking about chiropractic care and adjustments that we do to our patients, these adjustments that we do are geared toward strengthening the nervous system. If your nervous system is functioning properly, then all of the systems in the body are able to function properly. However, if there is dysfunction at the level of the nervous system, then yes, there can and will be dysfunction involving those other systems. In this case, we're talking about the immune system, right? If we want the immune system to have the opportunity to function like it should, then we first have to address any issues going on with the nervous system. Again, other systems, digestive, reproductive, cardiorespiratory. A thing about this virus is it's known to attack the organs. And even in those that have survived COVID, have contracted COVID-19 and have survived it, they're now dealing with organ failure, heart,
Wow.
kidney, liver,
Mhm.
lungs. So you got to consider that. And a lot of it is, I always tell my patients, how you go into a situation is a predicting factor of how you come out of it. You got to properly equip yourself.
Wow.
Yeah, just kind of piggyback on that a little bit, Kevin. I received a call maybe about 2 or 3 days ago from a colleague, and she was asking me if we had run across symptoms from people who had COVID. Like, for example, she had a patient whose sperm count dropped,
Really?
had COVID. Yeah. Another patient, this particular patient, her cycle was thrown off.
Mm.
Again, both of these people had COVID. They survived, and as of right now, we haven't had any patients like that with those kind of symptoms. But again, that just goes back to saying how different this virus is, how the symptoms are varying on a daily basis
Mhm.
of how it attacks the body.
Yeah.
Wow.
And there has been research done up to this point, and there is evidence that, this virus does indeed affect the nervous system.
Mm-hmm.
There have been survivors of COVID that have come out of it with, in layman's terms, what's called brain fog.
Yeah.
So
That I can attest to.
there you go. So you're a first-hand account. So again, so that tells you right there is an effect to the nervous system, and it may be months or years before we know really how deep these effects go, and how what residual effects may involve other organs and organ systems of the body.
Right. And see, again, the nervous system, we keep talking about it. And so what we have to realize is that, God put in us what we need to heal. We just have to get out the way. Part of what getting out the way is coming in and allowing us to adjust you to clear your nervous system, having your nervous system properly cleared. And yeah.
Wow. Now, should chiropractic be a just a part of my everyday life, and not just because you're a chiropractor, but is that something that's going to help overall keep me healthy? Because I know we target a lot of millennials, trying to get them into this healthy lifestyle, so you just begin to live it habitually.
Mhm.
Is that something that's really beneficial
Yes.
to your lifestyle? That's going to help keep you healthy and your immune high and
Mhm.
Absolutely. And I'll put it to you this way, and this is not to be facetious, but this is just to put it into proper perspective. Asking that question is synonymous to asking someone, if I drive my car, or if you drive your car every day, should you get your tires rotated or should you get your oil changed?
Mhm.
And again, I don't mean to say that to be facetious, but that puts it into proper perspective.
Right.
Absolutely. Because we are putting wear and tear on our bodies and our body systems every single day. The only question is, to what degree or to what severity are we putting wear and tear on these systems? So obviously, absolutely, these systems need repair.
Mhm.
They need correction.
okay.
They need realignment.
Mhm.
And that's where we as chiropractors come in at.
Right.
Wow.
And the nervous system is the electrical system of the body. So think about, and again, central nervous system, that is your power station. So think about the substation that's in your neighborhood. If a tree hits the substation or something knocks that out, it knocks out the power to the entire neighborhood. Or if it doesn't knock it out to the entire neighborhood, you may have, for example, in your house, a lamp that has a short in it, right? If it has a short in it, it may work now, it may not work later, right? And so that's what happens to our nervous system. When there are interferences in the nervous system, you're not getting proper communication to the organ cells, all that. And so it may work now, it may not work. So in other words, it may, if it's not working properly, it won't necessarily be able to ward off a virus, right? But if it is
Wow.
working properly, it will probably ward off that virus.
Now, how does it work with the brain fog? Like, where does that come from? Is just the neurons moving slower, or is that communication is broken?
Well, yeah, the doc just mentioned it. There's some sort of interruption to that communication. And again, more research has to be done to ascertain the degree to which, as a result of COVID. But yeah, absolutely. Those neurons and electrons or neural signals are not able to transmit and communicate information as quickly and as rapidly
Mhm.
as it once did. So again, you're talking brain fog, You may be talking fatigue, or the symptoms from their end may run the gamut, because again, the foundation of our bodies is the nervous system. So if the foundation is affected, symptoms can run the gamut from there.
Right. Think about Atlanta, 285, right?
Okay.
285 goes around the city. But if there's an accident on 285, often people have to get off and get onto the side street, right?
Okay.
So instead of you having a straight shot going around 285, you got to detour and go around. Our nervous system works the same way.
Okay.
There are many different paths to get to, let's just say, the heart. All right. If the main pathway to get to the heart is interfered with, is not clear, message will still get to the heart, but it would be a slower message.
Wow.
Brain fog, same way. It's the same thing. You get a good message, but it's going to be a slower message that you get.
Wow. Dallas Fort Worth, Texas has checked in. Unfortunately, Align for Life, we are not out there yet. We trying to get there as fast as possible.
Not yet.
But
stay tuned.
Yeah, right.
I do have some Southwest Atlantans asking for the address and how they can get an appointment with Align for Life. If you guys would kindly give them the address and phone number.
Yes, sir. So we are located at 1800 Jonesboro Road in Atlanta. The zip code is 30315. Our phone number is 404-383-1110. Again, that's 404-383-1110. You can find us on all social medias at Aligned, the number 4 Life. You can also find us on the World Wide Web at www.yourfinespine.com.
And like we always say, if you want to be fine, take care of your spine. We got you.
I knew you had to throw it in there. It has been another excellent edition of the number 1 rated business show right here on the Real 1100 AM. Got to thank my great doctors. They take care of me and keep me going. Right. So for stepping in and joining us today and telling y'all patients they're going to have to hold on for a second. Once again, Dr. Fowler, Dr. Williams, any last words, anything you want to leave folks with?
Well, I mean, we're here in the community. We are here. As Doc said, you can go to our website at yourfinespine.com. Our hours of operation, 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. Mondays and Wednesdays, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. on Thursday, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. on Friday. So we're looking forward to having you in the place.
And I just want to give a special shout out to one of our special patients who is listening, Miss Phillips. If you're out there, I said I will shout you out, and there you go. We'll see you in the office.
Until next week, this has been another installment of the number 1 rated business show. Once again, I'm your host, Kevin C. Pride. Follow me on social media at IMKC Pride. You can find Align for Life all over the internet, alignforlifewellness.com, or you can go to yourfinespine.com. And we'll be back next week with another great episode. Until then, we are out.
Remember in the beginning, when you first started to build a life for you and your family, you never imagined it would come to this. Instead of living your dreams, you're living with debt. In fact, it's smothering you. Now there's a way you can take back control with one simple call. If you owe $10,000 or more in credit card debt, you qualify to receive a free, no-obligation consultation on how to get rid of that debt for good. Call the Debt Helpline now. We work on your behalf to reduce your debt. We specialize in credit cards, retail store cards, and medical bills. One simple call is all it takes to get the ball rolling to a debt-free life. Stop living with debt and start living your dreams. Call the Debt Helpline now.
800-648-9176. 800-648-9176. 800-648-9176.
One and one, or y'all want to do it together? Like, you sound great doing the tagline at the end, so I would definitely keep that part.
So
We'll put Barry at the end.
and then we're doing accents, and I'll do the auto accent wellness care slip and fall.
Okay.
Yeah,
so
we
you're gonna do
can
taglines at the
that
end?
one.
Yeah,
For that
taglines. Yeah.
For
So
that
because y'all can switch up the taglines, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, you can end the stream. We're good.
So do we have